In Palestine, some social movements denounced the forced displacement of the people of Gaza following constant Israeli attacks. Hurricane Milton left Florida and headed to the Atlantic Ocean, leaving strong flooding, large power outages, and 10 deaths in its wake. In Haiti, the mayor of St. Mark, Miriam Fivret, reported that criminal guns attacks have resulted in 115 civilians dead. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Palestine, social movements denounced the forced displacement of the people of Gaza following constant Israeli attacks. Israeli military operations live in the coastal enclave unsustainable. In this sense, authorities warned that a short time given for the evacuation makes the movement difficult and puts the life of Palestinians at risk. Social movements request protection for civilians in compliance with the provision of international humanitarian law. Palestinian authorities report on Wednesday that at least 28 civilians were killed and others wounded following new Israeli airstrikes on the school housing displaced people in the city of Jabalia. Palestinian representative also denounced an advanced stage of ethnic cleansing by Israeli occupations of the Palestinian people. Thousands of citizens in the city of Beirut mark a worship of Turkey after Israeli attacks on Lebanon. The warship named TCG, the Bayraktar, sailed from the port of Mersin in Turkey, carrying 300 tons of supplies, including food, sanitary kits, kitchen utensils, tents, beds, and blankets. The warship had been sent to Lebanon to provide aid and bring back Turkish nationals and some foreign following Israeli airstrikes, which has targeted the country in recent weeks.
It's indescribable. They bombed the street below our house. From that moment on, it was over for me. I said I didn't want to stay in Beirut anymore. From that moment on, Beirut was over for me.
The UN Special Coordinator for Lebanon, Janine Haynes, pleasured warned about the escalating humanitarian crisis in the region, calling the situation desperate.
Finds itself facing a conflict and a humanitarian crisis of catastrophic proportions. Now, as you know, this afternoon we are connecting from Beirut, and I can tell you without reservation that the situation is dire. Unrelenting bombardment is now part and parcel of daily life in Lebanon, with the latest blasts not even 30 minutes ago. Far too many people are paying an unimaginable price, with over 2,000 killed, many more wounded, and hundreds of thousands.
In the same context, the UN Humanitarian Coordinator for Lebanon, Irma Risa, denounced that the paramedic teams and health workers are the main victims of the attacks in the region.
Healthcare and frontline workers have come under attack, as have civil defense centers and water supply systems, pushing essential services to the brink of collapse. The killing of over 100 paramedics, healthcare workers, and public servants impairs Lebanon's emergency response capacity. This must stop. Even wars have rules.
Let's take a very first break, but remember, you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Thursday, Hurricane Milton left Florida and headed to the Atlantic Ocean. As per the National Hurricane Center 2 p.m. on Thursday update, Milton is over 250 kilometers off the eastern coast of Florida with maximum sustained winds of 120 kilometers per hour. The storm is moving at 33 kilometers per hour to the east and northeast and will continue to move away from Florida and pass to the north of the Bahamas. During the day, weather authorities forecast a gradual awakening, but Milton is expected to become a powerful extratropical on Thursday evening.
We're focusing on just recovering, getting help to people that need it. Again, this community was hit from what the Dopplers are showing. We got hit the hardest, the quickest. Again, we say this wasn't expected. We prepare for things, but you can't expect or do anything when we have multiple tornadoes touch down in such a short period of time in our community. It's devastating. There's no words could describe.
And as Hurricane Milton left Florida on Thursday, the authorities registered deadly tornadoes, many homes destroyed, and over 3 million customers without power. Tampa Bay, the metropolitan area, prepared to have escape without catastrophic flooding that has been feared. Milton pounded cities with ferocious winds and rains, with a barrier of tornadoes, and caused at least 10 deaths. Meanwhile, the National Hurricane Center reported on Thursday that Hurricane Leslie awakened into Category 1 hurricane. Hurricane Leslie is currently 2,760 kilometers west-southwest of Azores with maximum sustained winds of 144 kilometers per hour. The storm is moving at 11 kilometers per hour to the west-northwest. Weather authorities add that a steady to rapid awakening is forecast over the next couple of days. In Nigeria, authorities report at least 339 people dead and more than 1 million displaced after heavy rains. In a general assessment by the Civil Protection Service, the country faced an unprecedented humanitarian crisis since June. Authorities also report losses in infrastructure, livestock, and food supplies, which directly affect the economic and social stability of the country during this rainy season. Weather experts warn that climate change intensifies this type of phenomenon. The Interior Ministry informed that in September alone there were 273 deaths and more than 700,000 effects, figures higher than those recorded in 2022. In Haiti, the mayor of St. Mark, Miriam Figuered, reported that criminal guns attacks have resulted in 115 civilians dead. The killing by the Grand Griff gun in the early hours of the last Thursday morning, whose victims include women, children, and the elderly, resulting in more than 120 people injured by the bladed weapons and firearms. The injured were treated in St. Nicholas, the closest hospital of the scene of the incident. This has caused about 6,000 inhabitants left their homes to survive the atrocious massacres in the city of Pointe-Saint, causing civilians to temporarily stay in the city of St. Mark.
I was hiding with my son behind the vehicle, and 2 men appeared and walked towards me. One of them said, "Don't shoot her." But when I ran, the other one shot me in the back.
In Peru, transporters go on a strike this Thursday to demand Boluarte's governments to improve public safety measures given to increasing acts of violence against carriers. The transport union said that the strike comes as a result of the extortion and constant threats from criminal groups, which put their daily work at risk. This strike, initially promoted by taxi drivers, was also followed by a group of formal urban transporters affecting several roads in Lima and other regions. The Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities of Ecuador accused President Daniel Noboa of having led the country into an unprecedented energy crisis. Through a communique, the organization denounced the national government and Noboa's leadership for the blackouts that extend up to 10 hours. Precisely, they point out inaction and lack of planning to attend and mitigate the impact of these kinds of events. In this context, aims to ongoing energy crisis, the Ecuadorian Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology foresees the arrival of rains for the month of December, which is expected to recover the flow of the rivers that feed the 6 hydroelectric power plants. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Move on a short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Uruguay, social and trade unions, organizations, and political sectors call for a mobilization to condemn the genocide perpetrated by Israel against the Palestinian people, and demands a ceasefire. The Uruguayan people gathered to express their solidarity with the people of Palestine 1 year after the beginning of the most recent escalation of the genocide that has left more than 42,000 deaths and nearly 100,000 wounded. During the mobilization, which started from the Esplanade of the city hall of Montevideo and went through the center capitals, hundreds of people demand that Uruguayan government change its position on the Zionist state's military offensive and call for an end to the Israeli aggressions. In the Caribbean island of Martinique, police repressed demonstrators in the Rivière city during protests against the high cost of living in the French overseas territory. Throughout Wednesday, the situation became increasingly tense in the region, with people forming barricades at different points. Several organizations and trade unions associations denounced the disproportionate use of police force against men, women, and minors, and senior citizens peacefully demonstrating against the colonial repressions. Union leaders participating in the demonstrations urged all sectors of the country to join the demonstration in response to the island's colonial status and social inequality. In Mozambique, vote counting is underway on Thursday following Wednesday national elections in which the ruling Frelimo Party's candidate is likely to win. For candidates run for the nation's presidency, the leading Daniel Chapo is aiding in the Frelimo Party. His main counterpart, independent Venancio Modlane, in addition to former rebel commander Osufo Mumari and opposition party leader Lutero Simango. All are competing to House President Philippine Nyusi, who has served the maximum 2 terms allowed.
Yes, yesterday I cast my vote. It was good. These were very good elections. A lot of people have been going to vote. Even until 8 p.m. people were still queuing. We are going to have good results and things will change in our country.
On Thursday, France's mayor left-wing parties reject the Prime Minister Michael Barnier government's budget proposal. The party deems that the budget cuts of the conservative Michael Barnier have attacked the French social model. The coordinator of France Insolence, Manuel Bomparda, assured that the draft budget estimates, which is marked by the total efforts of 60 billion euros, reflect the most violent austerity plan that the country has ever experienced. The Russian government is moving ahead with preparations for the next BRIC 2024 summit to take place in the city of Kazan. Presidential advisor Yuri Ushakov informed that the summit will take place from October 22 to the 24th, with the confirmed participation of 32 countries and at least 24 head of states. Ushakov foreshadows the meeting to be the largest foreign policy event ever organized in the country. During this year's event, Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Ethiopia will formalize their incorporation to the bloc as part of the organization's enlargement.
32 countries have already confirmed their participation. I note that of those 32, 24 countries have confirmed the participation of their leaders at the summit in Kazan. Speaking about this summit in Kazan, I think it could turn into the largest scale foreign policy event that has ever been held in our country.
And now moving on. Author Han Kang became on Thursday the first South Korean to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Kang's work is characterized by this depiction of mental and physical suffering as well as historical events. Her major international breakthrough happened in 2007 with the novel The Vegetarian, which won the Booker Prize in 2016. The Swedish Academy has long been criticized for its Eurocentrism and the over the representation of Western white men authors. Among its winners were only 18 out of the 121 laureates were the women. After the undergoing major reforms in 2018, the body has since honored for women, including Kang. Regarding the Nobel Committee 2024 pick one of its members by the choice.
It's a very complex and rich oeuvre that she has already produced, and it spans so many different genres. She writes short stories, novels, poetry, essays, and she has this really intense lyrical prose that's very special. Once you get to know her voice, you will recognize it everywhere, even if you read her, as I have done, in different languages in translation.
Changing topics. In Paraguay, the 4th Latin American Special Olympic Games have been underway since October the 4th, whose closing ceremony will be held on October the 12th in Asunción. The Special Olympic goal is to boost inclusion and diversity in the region, empowering individuals with intellectual disabilities to become physically fit, productive, and respected members of society through sports. Over 1,000 athletes with intellectual disabilities from 23 countries have attended the event, accompanied by over 2,000 volunteers to support players. As guest nations are Germany, Belgium, and Spain. So far, they have been competing in athletics, swimming, futsal, basketball, and bowling. We have come to the end of this brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English, I'm from the South, Omar Marrero. Thank you for watching.